iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Everybody, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. All right, you know we're going to do our Tampa Bay Ray. You got to get that right. Tampa Bay Ray podcast is coming up in just a second. But before we go there, let's take a look at some news and notes, as we always do, to see what's happening in the world of fantasy baseball before we get to our drafts, which are coming up very soon, by the way. I've got a big one at Tout Wars on Friday, and then I've got another one on April 2nd, and then I'll be done for the year. But right now, Carlos Martinez, C-Mart, starting on opening day for the Cardinals. You know how much I like him. I think he's ready to take that next step. Just has to cut down on the walks. Just has to cut down on those walks. If he can do something with the walks, I think we're looking at a top 10 pitcher. Maybe in all of baseball. Not just fantasy baseball. And not just in the National League. Of course in fantasy baseball. Not just in the National League. I'm talking about in fantasy baseball. That's how much I like him. Secondly, Greg Bird named the Yankees starting first baseman. I've been waiting for that for a while. I'm in on Greg Bird. I am. I'm absolutely in on Greg Bird. And I want you to be as well. I think he's capable of having a good year. My only hesitation, and it's a slight one, is the presence of Chris Carter. If Chris Carter wasn't there, I'd be way in on Greg Bird. But as it is, I like him very much. And he's a guy that you can get cheaply. And I believe he's going to have a good season. 25 home run type season. Great start yesterday for Tanner Roark. Got the USA into the championship game against Puerto Rico. Looked very good against the Japanese team. The Japanese team, a bunch of good hitters. So if you're doing that kind of job against the Japanese team, you're doing something right. So good for him. That's a very good pitcher. Not enough strikeouts. That's his weakness, but it's a very good pitcher. Bob Melvin says the Oakland bullpen will be fluid. What does that even mean? Here's what that means. I have no idea who's my closer. I could have Ryan Madsen. I could have Santiago Casilla. I have Sean Doolittle. I have John Axford. I said as much during this podcast. Did I not? I said they had so many options that every night can be a different night. And that's a monumental problem for fantasy owners. See, and with fantasy owners, we need reliability and consistency. If somebody's reliable, and I can count on it, that's what I want. So-and-so will get 35 saves, write it down. Boom. Then I can analyze the player. Right? Then I can analyze the player and tell you what I think. But if I don't know what's going to happen, it can be an unmitigated mess. And that's the problem. And you know where it's a big problem? On the Tampa Bay Rays. It's a huge problem on the Tampa Bay Rays because there is no reliability, no consistency, because if any team was made up of a hodgepodge of guys in different positions, it's this team. This team is a fantasy nightmare. It really is. This isn't even close. See, once again, reliability. What can I rely on? Consistency. Will the guy get me stats that I deem to be consistent that I can count on? Is he going to play every day? When is he going to be in the lineup? I don't know. Me either. You want him? I don't know. But with the Rays, so let's get started with the Rays. I know I want Wilson Ramos as my catcher, but I don't know whether this guy's going to play at any point soon this year. They're saying July 1st, but what if it was August? What if it was September? Are you sure? Here's how you're going to know. Here's a trick of how you're going to know when Wilson Ramos is coming back. If the Rays sign Derek Norris anytime soon, Wilson Ramos will not be back until much later than expected. Because there's no way they're going with Curt Casali. That guy's a dog with fleas. But I would go with Curt Casali if I'm the Rays, if I think Ramos is going to come back sooner than later. But if I think he's going to come back later than sooner, I'm getting Derek Norris in. So watch for Derek Norris information. If we get Derek Norris information, that'll be helpful. I like Ramos, good hitter, going to be very good next year. This year, look, would I get him in a dynasty league in a late? Yeah, sure, in a late round draft, stash and cash type of guy. At first base, this was just mind-boggling to me. There was Chris Carter available. There was Mike Napoli available. There was Pedro Alvarez available. And the best the Rays could do is Logan Morrison? This guy's terrible. When has this guy ever been really good? Seriously. When you look at Logan Morrison's stats, I think he had one good year in 2011. Otherwise, the guy's hitting around 220, 240. This is a good player? Seriously. Who wants this guy? When you could have had Mike Napoli, when you could have had Chris Carter, you're getting Lomo? That's terrible. Now, Lomo can't hit a lefty. Lomo's got no-mo against lefties. So Ricky Weeks is going to be the guy who plays against lefties. So you could have had Chris Carter, but no, you decided to go with a platoon of Logan Morrison and Ricky Weeks? How about just fire the general manager? Here, do me a favor. Call me up, Tampa Bay. I'll come work for you. I can do a better job than the Palooka who decided to put in Morrison and Weeks. That's terrible. Seriously, if somebody said to me, hey, Dr. Roto, Logan Morrison, Ricky Weeks, what do you think about that? I'd say, get out of my office, you're fired. You're an idiot. Don't ever come back to me with a suggestion like that. Now, I originally had thought that Brad Miller was going to play first base, and I think they thought that Brad Miller was going to be first base. But when they traded Logan Forsythe for Jose De Leon, Brad Miller now slots into second base. Brad Miller is a very underrated fantasy player. The dude had 30 home runs and 80 RBIs last year. Scored 73 runs. Now, his average is never going to be great. And the stolen bases could be better, actually. I really think they could be better. But he qualifies at first base and shortstop. And he's going to qualify at second within probably about 2 weeks. So, yeah, I'm in on Brad Miller. I am. I don't know if it's a love, but it's a like. I think it's a pretty good like right here. At third base is easy. It's Evan Longoria. This one is as reliable and as consistent as they come. 30 home runs, 90 RBIs, 270 batting average, hit the middle of the order, put it down, Evan Longoria. That makes my life easy. Now, do I love Longoria? No. I like him. But he's never a guy that I tend to get. And I've said this to you a number of times in this podcast. I can pretty much by this time tell you guys who will be on my team and guys who won't. I know right now, without a shadow of a doubt, that Evan Longoria will not be on my team. But it's not because of the reason you think. You're probably sitting there saying, Dr. Roto, you hate Evan Longoria. That's why. No, I like him just fine. I think he's a good player. He's not on my team for the following reasons. Two reasons. One, the first reason is I will never pay as much for him in a draft, in an auction. I will never pay as much in an auction as somebody else will. I'll go 12, somebody will go 14. I'll go 15, somebody will go 16. I will never pay the most for Longoria. I just know I won't. I'll probably stop when the bidding hits 14, maybe 15. Somebody inevitably will say 16. And I'll be out. Secondly, I'll never take him in the round that he needs to go. I would take Evan Longoria in round 8. Usually he's gone in round 6. Maybe I might consider round 7 depending on how the draft's going, but no earlier than 7 or 8. He's gone in round 5 or 6. So I know I'm not getting him. Doesn't make him a bad player, just makes him a guy that I know I'm not going to get. right? He's just not going to work on my team. Shortstop. Matt Duffy is the guy they want to play shortstop, but he's still dealing with a heel injury. He's not, it's not getting better for him. So I know they want to play Matt Duffy, but we're not going to see Matt Duffy for a while. So we're going to go with a Nick Franklin, Tim Beckham platoon. Nick Franklin against righties, Tim Beckham against lefties. I like Tim Beckham more than most people do. And if I was in an AL-only league and I was looking for a guy late in a draft for a buck, okay, I think I would look at Beckham. He could end up, I think he could bat first or second. I think he could bat first or second against lefties. And let me ask you this. What if he starts to hit and they give him a shot against righties? What if? If they do that, then possibly he's got some value. So I think he has more upside than Nick Franklin. That's why I like Tim Beckham. All right, the outfield is just an unmitigated mess. It's just a mess. So there's one sure thing in the outfield, and that's Kevin Kiermaier, who I like a lot. Can't always stay healthy, but he's got a really nice power-speed blend. You know, a Dexter Fowler type. I would think that's a fair comp. Kevin Kiermaier's a Fowler type. Can't really stay healthy, but we've seen 15 to 20 home runs from him, possibly. Not yet, but I think it's possible. I think we can see 20 to 25, maybe 30 stolen bases. So if he gave me 15, 30, I wouldn't be shocked. He's their center fielder. He just got signed to a big contract. He's their guy. It's left field, right field, and DH. That's a mess. So you got Colby Rasmus, who first of all can't hit lefties. He's got power against righties, but he can't hit a lefty to save his life. Cannot do it. Okay? Secondly, you've got Malik Smith, who's a speed demon, but I don't think they're ready to put him in yet. I would be. I like Malik Smith. I'd like to see what he's able to do. But I don't think that, I think this is an Otis Nixon type of guy. Maybe with a smidge more power, but not much. Then you've got Steven Sosa, who came over from the Nationals 100 years ago, and he's never been able to be healthy. And you know what? This dude strikeouts a ton. Last 2 years ago, 144 strikeouts and 373 at-bats. Last year, 159 strikeouts and 430 at-bats. That's not going to make your manager too happy. That's going to piss off your manager in the worst way. And you're going to lose your job. The last guy that we could discuss there is Corey Dickerson, who's been around for a while, came over from the Rockies, but really, I mean, he was okay last year, not sensational. He was okay. 24 home runs, 70 RBIs, but I'd like to see more. But right now, I don't think they know what they want to do with him. Is he in a platoon? Is he playing every day? Is he a DH? I don't know. They're not sure. I'm confused. I think the Rays are confused too. I think they have so many guys that they're confused. All right, where I'm not confused is the pitching staff. The Rays have always had a good pitching staff. And what I like about the Rays is they're very careful with their rookies. They bring them up when they're ready. So, first of all, their closer is Alex Colomé. Not Column B, Colomé. Colomé was a former starter who really threw the ball hard, but he was very wild. And then they decided to put him in the bullpen. And then last year, when Brad Boxberger went down with an abdominal injury, they said, hey, Alex Colomé, let's give you a shot. But Colomé surprised everybody by being really, really good. And he got the job and he never looked back. And right now, he's their closer again this year, and he's a very good closer. I would think he's one of the most underrated closers in the American League. I like him. Boxberger will be their top setup man should they decide to trade Colomé, which I think would be a mistake. But if they do, Boxberger will get his job back. But where the Rays shine is with their pitching staff. Firstly, Chris Archer. So every expert is in on Archer. Every single one. He's got to cut down the home runs. 30 home runs is a terrible number. Got to cut down on those home runs. But every expert is in on this guy. He has gone in 5th round or earlier. Maybe even 4th round. So I like Archer. My friend Steve Carney from WDAE down here in Tampa basically thinks the world of Archer, says he's a great kid, very coachable. Steve has his pulse on the team. I like Archer. I always have. I think he learns from his mistakes. He's not too proud to take instruction. Secondly, Jake Odorizzi. He was very good in the second half last year. Can he do it for a full season? I'm willing to find out. I'm willing to find out. It's a good pitcher. Not a great one, but certainly above average. Certainly above average. If he was in the NL, he'd be a really good pitcher. The third starter is Alex Cobb, who I've always liked, but man, he's had some problems staying healthy. Right between the Tommy John surgery, getting hit in the face. I mean, this guy's had some problems. But when he's pitched, how about the 2 years in 2013, 2014? ERA of under 3 and whip of 1.15 or less. It's a good pitcher. So last year was hard to tell in that many innings, but let's see what he can do this year. And how do you know that Cobb is good? There's been a lot of interest by other teams in the National League. The Dodgers, the Cardinals. People want Alex Cobb, and rightfully so. He's a good player. Blake Snell is our number 4 starter, and the problem with him is his walks. I mean, he had, if I'm not mistaken, was it 59 walks in 80 innings? Yeah, 51 walks in 89 innings. That's terrible. His strikeout to walk ratio was less than 2-1. It was 98 to 51. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. So I think we're looking at a very talented kid here who strikes out a lot of guys, who might be able to win 10 games, but he's got to work on the free passes, dude. Got to do that. If you don't, I don't know what you're doing. Come on. You can't put guys on first base like that. You just can't. Matt Andriese is going to be their 5th starter, but I think that's only until Jose De Leon comes up. Jose De Leon was part of that Logan Forsythe trade where, and I can't blame them. I'm a big Forsythe guy, but when you get a prospect like De Leon, you can't turn your back on that. I mean, the Rays need a young guy. Forsythe is over 30, and De Leon is a young guy coming into his own. It's a very good trade for both teams. I'm actually surprised the Dodgers did it. I like Forsythe, but not that much. Is there a big difference between Forsythe and Chase Utley? I guess there is, but giving up Jose De Leon seems like a lot. Seems like a lot to do. So here's what we know about the Rays. They're a well-coached team, play good baseball, and probably a couple of guys short of what they need. But without a first baseman in fantasy and reality, you are not winning anything. Lomo and Ricky Weeks is a pile of duty. And Derek Norris needs to be there. You get Derek Norris, you've got Chris Carter, now we could have talked. Now we could have had a conversation. But as it is, I think the Rays are in big trouble this year. They're going to need their pitching to hold up, their bullpen is weak, and they've got a couple of guys that need to step up. The outfield, they need to get younger and figure this out. Get rid of Colby Rasmus. Dog. Get rid of Lomo. Dog. Figure this out, Rays. But you know who will help you figure it out? Scout Fantasy will. Go to scoutfantasy.com, enter the promo code ROTO, that's ROTO. You pay for 1 month, you get 2 more for free. You get access to our MLB draft kit. Sean Childs, Adam Ronis, Dr. Roto. Rankings, predictions, preseason pro sleepers and busts, podcasts, team outlooks, player profiles. Does it get better than guys who have won high-stakes leagues, industry leagues, expert leagues, home leagues, host leagues? Seriously, no better 3 guys in the industry to help you out. So please, I encourage you to go to scoutfantasy.com, promo code ROTO, ROTO. All right, guys, it's time now to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Back tomorrow, talking the Texas Rangers with you. But for today, that's all we got. Be well, and take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!